You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, let's talk about Anthony Richardson. He lost his job yesterday to Daniel Jones. And it seemed a lot of Colts fans were none too happy about that, of which I made a video and said, did you not realize he was losing his job the moment they signed Daniel Jones and gave him a $14 million contract with $13 million guaranteed? You're not giving a backup quarterback $13 million guaranteed. You just aren't. I would say it was heavily skewed. And I thought fans kind of understood that. When Daniel Jones went there, I said, this is it. It's over for Anthony Richardson. And so now Anthony Richardson's agent, I guess, is all twisted off. He's upset, calling it, quote, questionable now between Anthony Richardson and the Colts. Now, keep in mind before we get into this that Anthony Richardson last year had 499 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns. And he also had 8 touchdowns passing, 12 interceptions. And in case you're wondering, he also added in, let me just scroll down. Where was it? Right here. 9 fumbles. 9 fumbles. So 14 TDs, 21 turnovers by Anthony Richardson. Now, I don't know how many of those they actually recovered. Doesn't matter. You lost the ball out of your hand 21 times. I could have told you. He was on life support, at least with Indianapolis. Now, I talked about, yes, they drafted him with the idea that he was going to be Jalen Hurts, or they could do with him what they did with Jalen Hurts. And I said, no, that's not going to work because Jalen Hurts played like 40 games, over 40 games of college football, got a ton of reps. Jalen Hurts was as bad of a passer as he was coming out. He was 5 times a better passer than Anthony Richardson was, and he just had so much more experience. Shane Steichen turned that into something with Jalen Hurts. And I didn't remember this, but a couple of people brought it up. Some people are saying that Jim Irsay forced Anthony Richardson onto Chris Ballard and onto Shane Steichen because I guess he got a feeling, whatever. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. But it's pretty clear, and it's my understanding the I guess, daughters of Irsay have basically told the football people, you make the football decisions, go. And it sounds to me like that's what they're doing. They've made a point to say, okay, that's it. Because Steichen came out and said, Anthony's not getting his job back. This is a decision for the year. Now, look, if it's a total dumpster fire with Daniel Jones by week 5, Anthony Richardson will get his job back. He will. But somebody brought up yesterday that this could be a situation somewhat akin to, for example, Joe Milton or somebody like that, Trey Lance. Trey Lance is a very, very good line to draw, right? Drafted in almost the same spot. Once the Niners, I'm a Niners fan, once they decided to move on from Trey Lance, remember, Brock Purdy won the job, they immediately traded Trey Lance just to get that situation off the team. I think there's a chance that Anthony Richardson gets traded and quick. All right. And his agent is sort of, he didn't come out and say we're demanding a trade, but he flirting with it. All right. Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson Sr. Future is in flux following Tuesday's decision to name Daniel Jones the team's starting quarterback. Richardson's agent reacted with disappointment in the move and said he's unsure of his client's future with the club. The agent, Dedrick Jackson, stopped short of demanding a trade, but he wondered out loud whether Coach Shane Steichen's quarterback decision might have been predetermined when the Colts signed Jones in March to a one-year, $14 million contract. No shit. You as an agent should have been pre-working behind the scenes to find landing spots for Anthony Richardson. And look, if you wasn't doing that, you ain't a great agent. Quote, "We have a lot to discuss," Jackson told ESPN of his impending conversations with the Colts. Jackson said he believes Tuesday's decision and some previous situations involving Richardson have damaged the team's credibility. Richardson was benched for 2 games last season, with Steichen saying that at the time Richardson needed to improve his game preparation. The team quickly reinserted the 2023 number 4 draft pick into the starting lineup after suffering 2 straight losses with veteran quarterback Joe Flacco under center. Quote, "Trust is a big factor, and that is at best questionable right now. Anthony came back, made those improvements in the areas he needed to improve, and by all accounts, he's had a great camp." Earlier Tuesday, Richardson said there were, quote, "no hard feelings after Steichen's decision. Steichen made a decision. That's the decision we got to live with, but no hard feelings, nothing personal. I've just got to keep growing. I just can't let me not be a starter stop me from going and being the person, the player that I'm supposed to be." The Colts' organizational position in recent months is that Richardson still has a future in Indianapolis. No, I don't think so. I think that's a wrap. I do. In case you're wondering, this is PFF's 2024 QB grades, okay? Anthony Richardson is ranked as the 35th quarterback in the National Football League out of 42 that got a substantial amount of reps, okay? So number 35 out of 42. Daniel Jones was actually number 25. He was ahead of Joe Flacco, Justin Fields, Tua Tagovailoa, Drake May, Dak Prescott, Caleb Williams, Mac Jones, Chester the Molester, and Mason Rudolph. So, I mean, that right there should tell you all you need to know. And look, I don't love everything about PFF's grading systems. Some of them, some players and some of what they put on there at times has me scratching my head. But, I mean, it can be a good overall gauge of where a player is. And I suspect Daniel Jones looks better in camp. That's what I suspect. In other words, he's more efficient at hitting the short and intermediate passes than Anthony Richardson, which has been something he's struggled with. Has he shown some improvement? I think he has, actually. I do. And again, this is exactly, I keep bringing up developmental leagues, the UFL. This is exactly the guy. Trey Lance, too, and you could point out several others across the league that needs to go to a league just like that runs NFL systems and has NFL affiliations and learn concepts, etc. This is interesting. So I'm going to call it. I think he's getting traded. I do. And the other thing I would watch for, I think Kenny Pickett gets traded with the Browns are released, one of the two, because Adam Schefter jumped out there yesterday and said, "Oh, the Browns are going to go ahead and keep 4 quarterbacks." Yeah, Kevin Stefanski ended up making some comments, and it did not sound like it. It sounded like somebody going to go, and they're not going to cut them 2 rookies, and they're obviously not cutting Flacco. He's the starter. If Kenny Pickett hits the market, I can't believe I'm going to say this, there may be a bidding war for Kenny Pickett, because I would assume the Dallas Cowboys will be all over Kenny Pickett for a backup. The Colts may be too, just because get as many quarterbacks as you can in there. And, Kenny Pickett's actually a little more athletic than people give him credit for. Does make you wonder, could Shane Steichen do something with Pickett? Maybe. I don't know. The problem is Pickett's arm. It's a below average arm. And that's just a fact. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.